Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. My name is DB333, and welcome back. Welcome to. I'm not quite sure what the deal is here. Welcome to Komi. I'll put it that way. I guess welcome back actually to Komi. For you guys, I don't know. I might have uploaded this a little bit after I started uploading the first series. I might have waited until it finished up. I'm not exactly sure yet, but it's been a bit of a while, at least for me, and by the while I mean like a few hours, since I started recording the last series for Komi. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, this is not part 2 quite, but series 2, in a little 3-part, at least, little showcase of Komi, because as you know, Komi can go fucking everywhere in the spectrum, politically, except for one. And it's not Burgundian system, it's conservative democracy. I don't know why we all know the funny clock memes. There's no point really hiding that. So in the last series, we took a look at the center, the democratic core of Komi. And we did pretty well. We elected a pretty solid majority of liberal Democrats, the League of Young Reformers, I believe the name of the party is. I might be mistaken, but if SMR, whatever that is in Russian. And, we established a free, fair democratic republic in Komi. And spoiler alert, it worked out pretty well, and we unified Russia. I mean, easy enough. It's not too difficult to do much more than that, but we made it this far, and so that's pretty nice. So, determining who I was going to hop into next, I actually took a gander at the poll. So if I can take a look at what details, probably I can just copy and paste this one. As you know, I did a poll for who I should do for the hard left paths. It was actually, all things considered, kind of decisive. If I can fucking move it over. There we go. So, you guys were more or less, you were pretty interested in seeing Bukharina. There was a fair interest in Zhdanov. No one really cared about Suslov, which I kind of get. Part of me was hoping you guys would go for Zhdanov, because he has that whole cool, ultra visionary thing going for him. But Bukharina, she was my second pick. Sorry, Suslov. Hate to do it to you. Probably gonna hate doing a lot of other things to you in the series later on, but we'll get to that when we get to that. So, yeah. We're gonna go ahead. And usually, I think I said this last time, you can either do the government in check, eyes to the right. Oh, you get this, and then you get the option of who to go at. You can keep to the center. And from there, you can kind of determine, where to go. Determine, where to go in the center, Democratic Party-wise. But from there, there's not too much to do. You have a pretty stable chance of not only going through with the election, but not having anyone contest it, which leads to the whole coup mechanic thing. Or, you could target one of the sides. You can go to the right, or go to the left. If you go to the right, that also kind of weakens the center a little bit, or you're not strengthening enough. So that leaves the left a little better off. Meanwhile, if you go to the left, same idea, just vice versa. The right gains more power. So depending on who you want to go with, center is easy. You just, you remember like this. If you want to go left, you got to take a right first. I don't know how to remember it best. It's a reverse. Okay, I'll remember this. This is left on the tree because this is the left path. This is right on the tree because that's the right wing path. There you go. That's how you remember it. So before we do that, though, we're going to do the affairs of National Assembly. As much as our detractors enjoy condemning our republic for its excesses of political intrigue and the occasional bout of violence, there's more to Komi than scheming and intriguing. The policies of National Assembly, while bitterly contested, as all things are a critical element for the thousands of people who are affected by the government's machinations each year. Opening the new National Assembly for the year, appointing new party whips, and ensuring that everything functions as normal shall ensure the functions of the Republic's institutions are as strong as ever. Additionally, this will give us the opportunity to cut through precedent and tradition, change long-standing laws, and improving life for the multitude citizens of the Republic. Through the tactful expertise of state power backed by the people, anything becomes possible. So let's do it. So, I don't know if you got... Ooh. Can increase the power of the left and right, or increase the power of a center. First off, I guess real quick, we'll do some looting. I've already done a little bit of stuff off camera, if you can't tell, if you couldn't tell by the fact that some focuses were already selected. This is not the same save I used for that first part video. This is a new save altogether, but same sort of idea. I guess we'll kind of stay where we are. That's, you know, we still have more power for the left in general. So, we'll be alright. And so, along with the usual stuff, we're going to be taking... We'll be taking a good deal of advantage on this side of the tree, because this will increase our libertarian socialist appeal. Granted, it's also going to improve the influence of Zhdanov, which might not be the best necessarily, since we're going with Bukharina. So if we were going, you know, ultra visionaries, which I kind of wanted to do, but, you know, I figured I'd directly listen to the people for one of these polls, because, trust me, I'm not playing this fucking tabby just because everyone else has done it. But, this might help us out a bit more there, but since we're not doing that, we have so much we can't do. So one thing I think we will do is pursued Comrade Lesson. They'll be able to call in 7 more favors, but we'll get some libertarian socialist support. And that'll be pretty nice. So, we'll do that. So, he can call in 20 favors. So, we can do the budget of the Komi Republic right now. The 1962 budget of the Komi Republic is a critical document providing a comprehensive list of appropriations for each and every program administered by the government of Komi. However, even with the ruling coalition's dominance... Who's messaging me? I was just... We were talking earlier, right? This passage is not entirely guaranteed. Historically, compromise has been necessary to pass budgets, as every party within the coalition has different ideas on what needs to be funded. The budget, thusly, has become an exercise in pork barrel spending, with deputies given appropriations for pet projects to keep them loyal. With this increasing unpopularity of President Vosnetsky, however, the National Assembly could possibly not be quelled by the usual tricks. Numerous advisors and allies to the president have hinted to him that the usual methods of getting the government on his side will be much less effective during this term. Additional means may be necessary to ensure the Republic gets what they need in terms of funding. Okay, yeah. Alright, sorry, we were just talking about something that might be in the works coming up. Speaking of the works, let's get working on a raid. So we'll go ahead and get our timer back out, just so I can keep a track on where I'm at time-wise. And so, yeah, the right to power is just following. We shouldn't have to do this. Combs then turned around to face Turban, his face filled with disgust and self-loathing as he walked down the streets. We don't have a choice. stopping as a communist campaign truck passed by filled with adoring children. Unless we want to starve. Or worse. That doesn't make it right. Right? Wrong. It doesn't matter. It should. Well, it doesn't. And shut up, they're just up ahead. They stopped in front of an alley, the place of their meeting. Looking down, they saw a man inside, entirely colorless except for the red sickle and hammer band on his right arm. Costin stepped inside, leaning against the opposite building of a man. You got the money? Cosmin nodded, taking out a folded-up collection of rubles. The man took them, counted it, and pocketed it. Don't worry, he said, up and smiling. We don't give a shit about what you owe. Do I say that? I hesitated right now, so I can't just say. We don't give a shit about you, do. Then, as he was just about to walk away, he turned around smiling. Just leave the children alone, and you guys are okay in our book. We'll keep that in mind, Comson said, keeping his eyes on Turban. Good. Have a fine day, comrades. And he walked away, like he did at the end of every month after payment. At least they're getting protection, which is good. Granted, they don't need this much, because the HIV crisis was not yet invented by Ronald Reagan in order to target the gay and black communities. So they'll be okay, but they could also be hate crime, and that wouldn't be nice. So there are compromises you have to do. Let's do the Infrastructure Repair Act. While the Republic has a Department of Transportation that handles repairs to infrastructure and replacements to damaged watercraft and transport vehicles, the department has constantly delivered complaints about how its funding is insufficient to deal with every issue that it currently faces. A new bill has been proposed to the National Assembly to pass through a special appropriation for the Department of Transportation, which is to be dedicated specifically to providing aid to their infrastructure repair division. However, certain aspects of the bill are undecided, specifically labor laws and the exact sources for the funds which are to be dedicated. These matters must be decided on in the National Assembly before the bill is to be passed. Well, there we go. The Komi Republic, unlike many of the warlord states, have spread across the old Soviet Union, is blessed with a formal governmental and economic system. However, this does not entail stability or any sort of expedience in the National Assembly's budgetary machinations. The so-called Vosnensky, the ruling party in the governing coalition of the Republic, has prepared a budget for the year, a comprehensive initiative focused on external defense, internal policing, and public welfare to repair the damage caused by the bombings. However, internal polling reveals a rather concerning trend within the coalition. With our current numbers of confirmed votes, it seems that if any more dissensions are to take place within the government coalition, the budget will fail, and the Republic's government will be paralyzed for months. In the wake of his discovery of the distressing trend of the party, the President of the Republic has been forced to make a decision. The budget could be handed to Alexei Kosygin, leader of the Young Reformist Party and talented economist. Or it could be kept as is, and strings pulled to ensure that the vote goes our way. While Kosygin is slightly to the right of the President, his influence could ensure that the budget passes safely and comfortably, evading an embarrassing government failure or shutdown. I'm sure nothing will happen. It'll be fine. What do you mean, event insufficient votes? What? President Vosnensky finds himself once again challenged in carrying Komi through yet another year of endless instability. This time the national budget is his problem. The Democratic Socialists and the PSD lack the necessary votes to pass the budget through the National Assembly on their own. Vosnensky's budgetary proposal of shifting funds from internal spending to military production has left the SMR unwilling to back the bill, which they claim abandoned the ideals of a true people's revolution that caters to Selena and the opposition parties. To pass the bill, there are two strategies. Either roll back on some of the proposals to get Kosygin's party back on board, or try to get Zhdanov's faction of the KKP to vote with the government by promising the military contracts will be awarded to cancel industries associated with this support base. What do we do? Fuck it. Call in a favor from the left. So we'll get less influence overall. Zhdanov is up held his end of a deal. The budget resolution passed, and President Vizensky saved the Republic yet again. Now we have yet an enviable job of upholding our side of the bargain. The weapons order must be placed with KKK-affiliated plants. We just have to pray no one important notices of reshuffling the planning committee. Just hope the right-wingers don't find out. Convenient. Increases of influence of the left by a random amount, and we get Shafarovic's denouncement. I wonder what he's denouncing. The Passionari has criticized the government of the National Assembly, accusing it of capitulating to communists. Our representatives have staunchly denied it is untrue, but not many people believe it, since Shafarovic can point to multiple sources within the government, not to mention the recent addition of several KKP members to the Budgetary Committee. More worryingly, multiple members of the Assembly from our coalition parties have stated they will vote with the Passionari against the budget. Should it fail to reassure them, that is not the result of a backroom deal with the communists. Well, we'll have to reassure them. Failure of the budget is not an option. Why the fuck is this guy here? After many intense hours of infighting, the more moderate Passionari and our doubting allies have fallen in line and endorsed the budget. Through some clever coordination, Zhdanov's allies on the committee made it appear as if they were vigorously defending a social security provision in the budget, then playing offended and withdrawing once Vizensky's doubtfully withdrew it. The right-wingers are now confident they defeated communist collusion within the DSNP, not realizing the actual backroom deal regarding which factories get the production contracts. A few choice cuts to non-essential services like library funding and housing acquisitions brought them on board with the new budget. With the support of both the communists and the right, it won't matter if some SMR representatives won't back the bill over the internal spending cuts. That's all we can do. Through an incredible upset today, President V's budget proposal passed through the National Assembly, despite receiving praise by Stalin and the unanimous support of the People's Social Democratic Party and Sovereign Democratic Party for its efforts in improving national security, as well as an unexpected number of votes from Passionari faction, members of whom have cited common sense budget cuts and responsible fiscal policy. The bill still looked dead on arrival. Alexei Kostin of the Union of Democratic Reformers was highly critical. The bill for its cuts to internal spending, particularly on Social Security, and almost two-thirds of the party's representatives refused to vote for it. That's when the Communist Party unexpectedly came to the president's rescue, the majority of the representatives voting for the new budget on grounds of its importance in protecting national industry and securing the revolution. The budget thus passed with a comfortable majority, and President V is expected to hold a press conference tonight thanking his allies and those opponents who supported the bill. All may, however, not be a bed of roses for the president in the future, as Lev Gumelov and Igor Shafarovic have issued a joint press statement that they will conduct a thorough investigation, both of the members of Shafarik's circle, who backed the bill without checking it for communist infiltration, and of the government's own potential collaboration with the Communist Party. The DSNP might have trouble getting their collaboration in the future. So, an elegant shit. What do we want to do? We can do... So worst case scenario, if his influence gets too high, we can just cut him out. For now, let's suppress the right more. We'll do, Defense of the Republic Act. The Komi Republican Army is a formidable force in the Russian waste, but it has its own set of problems, namely size. Due to our small population and necessary inefficient census system, the Army doesn't get quite as much manpower as it needs from our current conscription policies. Several solutions have been raised in the National Assembly to address this issue and defend the Republic from hostile neighbors. While the official line of the ruling coalition is to increase the conscription period from 1 to 2 years, the left has proposed an addendum, a loosening of laws that ban certain people from volunteering for military service due to this participation in certain political organizations. While this is a drastic measure, it could assist the Republic in getting the manpower it needs. The solution always will be decided in the National Assembly. As part of our new set of reforms, an increased amount of funding will go towards restoring the functionality of infrastructure damaged by German bombings, particularly paved roads, railroads, and larger bridges. The problem is that if we follow with the recommendation of the Democratic coalition partners and commit to this without compensating for the very likely possibility of going over our very limited budget, we risk running up debt, which is notoriously expensive due to our isolation from international credit. Igor Ligovich of a party believes that he's found a solution after receiving assurances from Zhdanov that the Communist Party will vote in support of any increase in income taxes necessary to fund the infrastructure repair bill. This, however, will be highly unpopular both with the people and with the Democratic Center. The passionaries, on the other hand, want to ensure the repairs are done within budget by utilizing our thousands of prison inmates as unpaid workers. Pass with hikes with Zhdanov's support. So he can call in 2 less favors, which will be good. Defense of the Republic Act, keep going on with that. Oh wait, we have the raid we need to do. I just remembered. They refused tribute. Give it up then. I think they're already in the progress of the process of a raid. Actually, so that's kind of awkward. Brazil wins the World Cup. Alright. The Republic has mandated conscription to defend itself, but the opposition is highly critical of a 2-year draft system favored by the parties. The system has held for years as the SMR, despite being critical of conscription, accepts it as a matter of national security. Now, however, in an unusual act of cooperation, the communists have endorsed a bill first introduced by the Passionary, suggesting an alternative 4-year conscription system, albeit with a provision for lower recruiting standards to ensure a bulkier army. With this alliance and the risk of more conservative PSD deflecting to vote with the Passionary, there's a very real chance that the 2-year model is under direct threat. The Assembly will need to pass a decision on the Defense of the Republic bill. The bill passes, including the provision. So 4 less favorites from Zhdanov, more manpower, 4-year draft. Beautiful. We'll do the Equal Zoning Act. Redistricting is a concern that has long affected many elements within our republic, from the disenfranchised refugees on the peripheries of our cities to the politicians attempting to organize their re-elections. This process is infamously arduous within Komi and Syktyvkar, respectively, thanks to bombings and high volume of population transfers thanks to refugees and our lack of resources to run an accurate census. This naturally has led to an environment in which more or less any sort of population distribution can be constructed and made to look official, without cooking the books too much. Behind the curtain, the president has spoken to several deputies on the redistricting boards, giving a favor to certain politicians to make them unassailable in their districts could just be the incentive they need to throw more of their support behind the government's initiatives. There we go then. Let's do it. I already read this one before. I'm not too... You can go back and pause it to read it. Loose craze is a rumor that an influential politician from Gorky's traveled ways to reach Komi. Another communist power player, perhaps? We'll see. Raid successful. Raid Shadow Legends, our sponsor for today's video. I'm getting there. I make that same joke every time. And one of these days, it's actually going to transition to a Raid Shadow Legends ad. And that is when I have, I have sold out. And I'm happy about it. That happens. We can train new workers. We'll do industrial equipment. I was a little worried because Raid there was still going. Ponomorov is making the rounds. Speech lambasting democratic coalitions. Yeah. Likely be one of the prime communist campaigns. Boris Ponomorov. Huh. What do you hide, buddy? Treasure. I wish they had treasure. It's probably some communist shit. The veil. I'm sure there's no point. We can get some more manpower. Which is kind of tempting, actually. Let's hasten army recruitment. More manpower, more influence from Zdanov, and more libertarian socialist support. Equal Zoning Act. Next, we'll do the Municipal Pacification Act. Paramilitary situation has been said to be getting completely uncontrollable, with a general uptick in overall violence over time. Several politicians of the National Assembly, spearheaded by Stalina and Kosygin, leaders of the Democratic Center, have proposed a rather drastic bill, one that has been said to increase police powers within problem areas of the Republic to levels not seen since the days of Bukharina. Many politicians of the National Assembly have railed against the bill, calling it a tyrannical government overreach, naked attempt at shutting down political opposition to the current ruling parties. One can also argue that this opposition is just an attempt to prevent these politicians' illicit sources of assistance from not being persecuted. Whether they like it or not, the bill will come down to vote. It will come down to the democratic process. We have gained a stable enough majority in the National Assembly that we can redraft parliamentary districts in an equitable fashion. Yeah, that sounds good. Very generous description of equal zoning bill. This bill will ensure fairer representation by redrafting districts to be of equivalent geographical area rather than based on population alone, ensuring a better representation for the countryside, which generally leads centrist over the population centers like Syktyvkar. Now, of course, it's very possible that some districts may be more equal than others, and should we desire to instead benefit one of the opposition parties for the purposes of our plans, it can easily be done by adding provision, allowing for smaller districts either in city centers, supporting the Komis, or suburban regions, supporting the passionaries. How should we draft a bill? If it could keep us safe from Suslov, perhaps it's worth doing. I don't know. The police thus ended the inquiry. Boris Ponomarov was just another communist politician hopeful. The government had no other business to tend to. Hopefully the newcomer was not dangerous. Suslov! And the left is about to have a whole lot of power. Holy shit. They are overpowering, you might say. So we're doing a good job, I think. I'm fairly certain this won't bite us in the ass that badly. Oh, so Slov's influence is huge, though. Holy shit. Maybe we can request some insider info. Get some of his secrets. Municipal Pacification Act. Oh, let's just auto-save. Okay. No national focus set. We'll do the Minority Representation Act. There lies a deeply concerning trend throughout the Republic of inequality in the National Assembly. The majority of the deputies are Russian, with an extreme minority of the National Assembly made up of the people the Republic bears the name of, the Komi. The proposed bill, spearheaded by Svetlana Stalina's PSD, makes a stand for a certain quota of minority representation, with new districts drawn to ensure more minorities are sent to the National Assembly. The rich culture of the Komi can be protected from a lack of representation, and usually Stalina and the left have aligned the matter. A lot of these guys support it. It depends on who can be rallied to support or oppose it. I've read this a bit before. I don't want to go over the same info. Blatant broadside against communists and passionaries, but would go a long way in restoring order to the streets. Killing the bill would make them look wicked on crime, but endorsing it would ensure its passage. And make it seem like they open support police brutality. I feel like these might want to be swapped. No, actually. Yeah, we'll just endorse it. Fuck it. We can train some guys. Producing stuff pretty slowly and infrequently. Ooh. Yuri shoved his hands into the pocket of his coat, a vain attempt to keep them warm as he trudged through the downpour. Most reflexively, his hand curled around the grip of the gun that always sat in his right hand pocket. He carried at least 2 weapons on him, the knife in his boot and the toke rev in his pocket. He never knew who would be out to silence him in this town. Things were moving faster these days than they had in years. Len was certainly right about that. Sometimes decades happened in the span of weeks. The kid was a goddamn savant at the political game. Bukharina, he corrected himself. Just a few short weeks, she'd rapidly moved up in the party to cement herself as a force to be reckoned with. Something told Yuri she wouldn't stop rising there. She was like a goddamn force of nature in the party, one that Suslov was growing increasingly worried about. And therein lied Yuri's choice. Giving her good word to the General Secretary would keep her safe for a while longer. Yuri had a feeling she'd capitalize on that. Good investment. On the other hand, a part of him said to wait and see. For his feeling about her was right. She'd be able to crawl her way to Suslov herself. Let's put in a good word. It increases her influence and increases libertarian socialism support. Which, again, is probably something we want. Vosnensky looked over to the document with a stone-cold expression. Next to him was Petro Grigorenko, his chief of the general staff, and Ligor Yigovich, his security minister. All 3 of them were discussing the document that they had been seen so far, with only 2 left to go over. Already, orders have been sent to police around the Republic to prepare procedures in securing of communist assets. Had an appropriate arrest. Oh, appropriate arrest have been carried out in secret. It's almost midnight. I should go to sleep because I have work. So I have school in the morning. The spoils of these documents had almost been fully reaped, and it seemed like all was almost finished in action. Comrades Ligachev, Grigorenko, these 2 documents, and they were finished. Let's see what else in the pile. Second and last document was unearthed from a stack of papers. Long-term operational plan ordered by and carried out by Yuri Andropov, one of Suslov's lieutenants. After a coup of a democratic government, the operation states of the Communist Party would expand its territory to other warlord states nearby, eventually taking much of the old Union. The 3 men glared at each other before reading the next document. Conversation between Arvits Pelshi, key figure on the left, and Suslov. After reading the document, which seemed more like Suslov giving orders to his inferior, the 3 men discussed it. Following their discussion, they agreed to gather the briefcase and guard in a secure place where none can see the machinations inside. So another 10 favors from Zdanov. More influence of Zdanov. Less influence of Suslov. And more influence from Vosnensky. Let's see how that works out. It's a bit more of a fight between these 2. Yeah, okay. Alright, so we got this done. Then we're going to do the government in check. Nothing in our government has been spared from danger in one way or another. While we have essentially twiddled our thumbs, both the left and the right have plotted, calculated, and made their moves, with no counterattack from us. We are essentially a king with 2 rooks flanking it. There are only a few good moves we're allowed to make, and we must make the right one, lest a mistake is made and our game's over. The plans to keep the flame of democracy alive in Komi must be observed and changed with haste. The fate of the Republic depends on it. So we'll lose some center influence, which is probably not necessary. Alright, so. Stalina influence. That doesn't matter. Not very much, no. It's a sad fact of life that in a republic centered on the Komi region, the actual Komi people and other Finno-Uralic minorities in the government are woefully underrepresented in the regional government and National Assembly. As such, the Communist Party has introduced a bill enshrining the rights of the natives to have a number of assembly seats proportional to their population in the republic, as well as a guaranteed right to jobs in the government of majority native municipalities. Needless to say, passing this bill would strengthen the communists considerably, as we are already doing well amongst the natives, and this bill would enshrine them as a party of native rights. As such, passionaries want the bill voted down on the grounds of mandatory native representation being undemocratic in a system preaching one man, one vote. Of course, its chief concern is the threat of a strengthened Communist Party could represent. As a compromise, native Komi SMR Representative Ivan Mozarov has drafted a bill that would guarantee the natives' local government heavier vote weight in the National Assembly, but no mandatory lower limit on native representation. The Center has rallied around the proposal, though many in the SMR and DSNP are clearly more sympathetic to the mandated minority representation bill. We will pass it in full. That's an excellent idea. Decrease of it. Popularity in social democracy, decrease influence in Mr. V, and replaces it equal rights with affirmative action, which gives us a bit more non-core manpower. And Stelina gets a bit more influence, but who really cares about that? Because I don't. The Manifesto of Order Socialism. Suslov leaned forward in his office chair, pushing his glasses forward as he pinched the bridge of his nose. Leaflet of papers on the table before him, he scrambled the text upon them, hastily scrawled as if written by a man desperate or mad. The Manifesto of Order Socialism, so read the first page in bright red lettering, neat and organized, a contrast to the rest of the work, a fact that Suslov found somewhat amusing, though he could not quite explain why. When Serov presented his theories to him and Comrade Zdanov, Suslov was optimistic. Though Serov was inarguably a brute, was a loyal one, wasn't ignorant of Marxism. Though Suslov didn't quite expect the second coming of Lenin, he hoped the ex-NKVD chief would at least demonstrate some sort of knowledge of socialism. He found horror. Nothing about the manifesto was inherently wrong or reactionary, but Serov's wording, particularly in regard to what he referred to as hereditary reactionaries, yeah, this guy is not a commie. Bring me him immediately. I'll focus on that event a bit more. I've read it already, I think. I'll read it when we hop to the right side of things, which I'm not going to confirm anything quite yet, but I might as well do it. We're probably going with Serov for the right. Because that's second place. I think I said already, I don't want to do Tabby. At least not for a good long while, just because everyone's done Tabby. It's drawn out. It's cliche. It's not original. I can't do too much more with it. Yep, show them all. Suppress the manifesto. Get working on better weaponry. Again, I'm kind of assuming that a few of the people who've already watched this LP have watched the first one, which might be a bit of a stretch to assume that. It might be. But if that's the case, I assume you guys kind of remember it from there. And if not, I should probably wait a few more seconds so you can go back and read it. Because I'm reading the new events, because there have been a few new events. The ones with the gay guys, that was new. I never read that one before. That was interesting. The other ones, a few of them I have read too. So, here we go. Plan of attack. The Democratic Coalition's leaders have arranged a very important meeting. Or at least what was supposed to be a very important meeting. The reason for this meeting was the unstable situation in the Republic. Extremist radicals and political violence ran rampant. While the death toll was relatively low from all this infighting, the Democratic Coalition fear things may escalate, leading to coups and the possible collapse of the Republic. Fortunately, it appears no one can decide upon a plan of attack in regards to these fears. A number of representatives believe that the coalition should focus on the left and their dangerous revolutionary rhetoric. Others disagreed, citing the increasing violence from the right as the largest concern. A third camp within the coalition believes that all of it's unnecessary. We should simply focus on the center, to create ad hominems, insults, no progress being made, just like America. The right is too concerning to allow to exist. And so there we go. That's our plan. We're going to support public housing, because that's a good one. Ups our poverty rating. 48 favors. Holy shit. Shadows lie in wait throughout our republic. The darkness hides through the surface of sick cars waiting, biding their time to strike. These shadows bear not belong to none other than Lev Gumilov's united leader of Komi's right-wing paramilitaries and possibly some politicians. While the left can be negotiated with, the plots of Gumilov will not stop until our downfall. We must focus on the right and bring them down, starting by listening with our eyes and ears. Let's figure out the left of the shadow. The extent of a shadow. While Gumilov has agreed upon our government to be generally to the far right, we haven't been able to agree on much else. Gumilov's specialty is distorting and hiding his connections and ties, which sometimes makes it near impossible determining how much of his influence is present within our Republican institutions. To defend Gumilov, we must reveal where Gumilov hides. Through our observations and research, the puppet master of the right shall finally have his agents brought to light. There we go. Supporting public housing. Suslov has moderately strong influence. I'll suppress the right. Nice. Yeah, just gotta try to beat these guys down as much as we possibly can. We can scavenge for loot, so let's do that. Says we can also raid Vyatka, which we might want to do. Let's give Grigorenko. Oh, Upsilon, he's here. Okay. What does he have? Not much in the way of stuff, but he doesn't have anything bad. Isn't too bad. Krolikov, doesn't have that many bad things with him. At least the bad things aren't that bad that I don't want to not use him. But, I mean, he's already equipped, so I might as well go with him, you know? Distribution networks. Extent of a shadow. I'll give you guys a little bit of a second to read this. We have a new naval commander. It's very nice. I wish I read the all the focuses. What was it? For the last one related to this, because this would probably have a nice payoff. But for now, it's an honor minister. Armed activities. Right-wing paramilitaries in Komi are well known for showing little restraint in their intentions and armaments. Through the streets, they march on pipes, daggers, and even pistols and rifles in order to intimidate anyone who would be willing to speak out or confront them. For there is a method to Gumilov's madness. By keeping track of patterns and noting possible locations and documenting actions, it's possible to obtain information that Gumilov might not want us to know about. All the better for us. I think we'll campaign a bit for Stalina to decrease V's influence, as well as just influence of a center in general. Yeah, here we go. We'll get some vacuum tube computing. I don't know exactly what that means, but it probably sounds helpful, so we'll go with it. Power struggle is real right now. I'm wondering, when do we want to cut ties? Because he has a lot of dirt on us, and I know the more we have, drastic consequences may occur. Well, do you want to do it now? We'll decrease his influence, so, might be worth doing. Let's give it a shot. And surely nothing will happen. Give us a second. Sarova's going full racist, basically, and we're probably about to kick him out of the party. Which I'm sure we won't. As Vysensky penned, sincerely Nikolai Vysensky, to his paper, he let out a sigh of relief. The weight of his burden would be forever lifted, and he could rest easy. No more connections, no more ties, no more association. Wisniewski would be free. The young courier nodded his head at the command and was dismissed straight away. Severance is at last. I'm sure nothing bad will come out of this. Ooh. Valery Mesolok exited the National Assembly and made his way to his car. His car has been provided by the party. Considering his status as a deputy of an important swing district, he understood that there was plenty of factions who wanted his district, but Valery was no fool. Valery Mishaus had been involved in politics since before the Russian Revolution. Valery continued to win election despite his advanced age. As he stepped off a curb to cross the street, he felt something hit him in the chest. Someone began to shout, and his fellow deputies ran for cover. Valery stood there, his confusion dispelled as blood began to stain his coat. He began to lose his balance. His knees were giving out from behind him. Soldiers shouting, the sound of gunfire, a sniper on a roof. The color was seeping from the world, and Valery knew that the people rushing to his body were too late. He knew he would never talk to his wife again. He ignored the chaos surrounding him, finding happiness in thinking of his wife. He smiled as he thought of her face. Her warmth in the darkness overtook him. Valery Mesolok had been shot and killed, the gunman escaping the scene before he could be identified. Merging elections would have to be felt in his former district in order to fill his seat. R.I.P. Ooh! A crisis has engulfed Komi. Although the headline is now new, one of the details of his particular story of interest to both the public and the politicians alike. An unknown associate of President V has come forward with damaging information about him, in particular his connections with a certain radical socialist named Zhdanov. Documents detail the extent of the connections, highlighting the relationship between Zhdanov and Wisniewski and showing the amount of collaboration. The V's have been completely shattered by the news as highly tempered debates run wild in the meeting halls and legislative sessions follow the story being broken. Wisniewski must now face the consequences of action. It's already come to a solution regarding how this mess will be handled. This never happened. So we'll have to deal with that next time, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm going to cut it here. Thank you as always for watching, ladies and gentlemen. If you like this video, go and leave a like. If not, feel free to dislike. If you want to see more of this content in the future, go ahead and hit that sub button for more uploads every weekday, as well as every Saturday. If any comments, feedback, concerns, anything of the sort, leave in the comment section below. I read all the comments I get and appreciate any and all feedback you might have for me. If you want to send feedback my way, I have a Patreon. If you want to share play games, I have a Discord. If you want to see me do this sort of stuff live, Twitch, all of which are on a link below. That's it for now, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching as always, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.